没有走完的路不会是终点，故事的走向是自己选择的坚持。
这个故事的开头还算不错，相信过程，相信自己走过的路。
那些最激动人心的冒险，从来不是单枪匹马的挑战。
과거는 잊으세요. 내일이 새로운 시작입니다. 내 경기가 새로운 도전입니다.
我们愿意为胜利付出许多代价，改变只是其中之一。
어떤 사람이든 현재에 만족하지 않고 어떠한 사람이든 제자리 걸음을 하지 않는다.
过去的荣耀就存留在记忆中，这一抹红色要照亮未来。
为之付出的心血越多，收获的果实才越甘甜。
赛场上的事怎能尽如人意？我只想追求无愧于心。
保持微笑，胜利总会专顾你。
在尝过赢得一切的滋味之后，你绝对不会甘心做第二名。
尖矛和利刃是勇者的武器，也有最坚硬的盾和扬起风帆的大旗。
如果翻不过这座山， 他们就听不到你的故事。
这个故事的结局将由我们来谱写。为了无悔，为了胜利，为了站在世界这边。
And welcome back to the next chapter in the LPL. It is week 1, day 4. We've had 3 days of action to see the LPL, 3 days to see the LCK, and yet North America and EU will be starting this weekend. Good evening, NA and EU fans, and welcome, because you are about to watch the best region in the world. And we've got a lineup of games for you tonight. You can see on your screen, Suning and Vici filing into their player rooms, getting ready for today's first matchup. I am your host today, doing my best Dash impression. I'm Indiana Frosker in black, and I'm joined by great company and Clement Chu. And Clement, you know, we just came back. It's now Thursday for us, but we had games on Tuesday and Wednesday. I know you're a big Snake fan, and just to recap our viewers at home, what the hell happened to your boys? Because Snake were not looking good on Tuesday.
They were no match for my boy Mountain, who came over from the LMS. If you look at the scores right here, OMG took down Snake in an upset 2-1.
And likewise, it wasn't just OMG versus Snake, it was also TOP versus Rogue Warriors. And then on Wednesday, Invictus Gaming versus LGD and BLG versus JD for another upset matchup. But let's go back. OMG versus Snake, you call this the meat grinder meta.
Pretty much. We have a lot of low-range champions fighting each other, and for Game 1, it was all about Shelly's Yasuo catching everyone in that Baron pit. 5v5s are really important, and most of our series have been decided by big team fights.
And this was a huge upset because it wasn't just Chelly, it was also your boy Mountain appearing over from the LMS, finally appearing in game number 3.
He is known as the Bandit in the LMS, and he didn't allow SOFM to walk into his jungle and steal his stuff. He showed him up on game 3 and instantly killed all of those involved in that steal.
And a lot of these names, if you're a longtime OMG fan, might not sound familiar, but one name should stick out, and it's Icon, our bad boy in the mid lane. He picks up the Cassiopeia, and he gets a sick ultimate over this Baron play.
This is definitely the rock star of the team right here. Just wait for it, goes around the corner, out of vision, stuns 3 people, and it's complete lights out for Snake.
Yeah, and in the end, of course, it was an upset 2-1. We all predicted Snake to win, but it was OMG. Now on the other side, things went according to plan, and it was Rogue Warriors 2-0ing TOP.
Very easy fight for them. Once again, Kahlua in the meat grinder gets a 4-man knockup to finish the series, and SLMZ showing that you can still play 80 carries.
And then likewise on Wednesday, BLG versus JD. We all predicted BLG, the Demacia Cup, strong contenders to take this series, but it was JD, one of the youngest teams in the LPL, showing up.
JD definitely took a book out of BLG. They understood how to fight them with teamfight initiations, and even had a very good performance from players like Loken right here in another big teamfight happening in the Baron pit. And just watch Loken as he comes in late, but does manage to clean up the fight for a quadra kill.
And that's a key thing. You know, normally when you're talking about JD, it's all about Yagao, but to see Loken pop off, pulling out the Kai'Sa, we've also seen Invictus Gaming pull it out, only spells good things for them.
And this has to be the best team fight against a Protect the Karma composition. Yagao silences Tom Kench and Lulu with one skill shot, and they instantly snipe out the Kog before the team can do anything, leading to a straight victory.
Okay, so that's Tuesday and Wednesday. Big picture, though, taking a step back, we're on 8-11, and I believe out of the 16 games that the LPL has played, 15 of them have had an ADC. So people keep saying that this is yakety sax crazy, but is that what we're seeing in the LPL?
I do have to put a caveat in that. ADCs are definitely still viable, and they're very important in team fights. However, only 4 or 5 ADCs have been played. We have the Draven, Lucian, Kog'Maw, and the Ezreal. That's pretty much all the ADCs we're seeing. So it's basically all about those champions that can use the Storm Warriors and can use the Essence Reavers. Still no crit champions to be found.
The different itemization coming through, but let's go ahead and check out the standings as well as today's schedule to get you ready for today's matchups. Now that said, we had some upsets. We had the OMG takedown Snake. We had the JD takedown BLG, but ultimately sitting at the top, fat and happy, is still Invictus Gaming 2-0.
Definitely coming out the gate strong, but we do have to remember teams like WE, EDG, and RNG have not played because their players are still at Asia Games, so we'll be seeing them later in the week.
Now that said, we do also need to cover our broadcast schedule because it's a new split for the English broadcast, and we do have a kind of peculiar schedule. Now the LPL does broadcast 6 days a week, but the English broadcast only broadcasts 4 days. So you'll see on the bottom of your screen the exact days that we broadcast. Tuesday and Wednesday are our Chinese streams. So if you still want to follow all the LPL action, just head over to Douyu or Panda TV and you can check in with our Mandarin casters. Now that said, today's matchup, Suning versus Vici, and then we have FPX versus Snake over in Chongqing.
The first debut we're going to see of both the team FPX and also SNG. And I have to mention, again, we're seeing another LMS jungler hop over here to the LPL in J-Team's Alex. But of course, we do have to start off with Suning and Vici.
And the thing is a lot of people are building a lot of hype around Suning. You know, they barely missed taking their playoff chances. It was JD that crept in there just over the line. And unfortunately, it feels like Suning have kind of been sitting in the curse of just being in the tougher conference, that Eastern Conference, which is just so stacked with the likes of RNG and Invictus Gaming.
Yeah, they definitely have it really tough in terms of the schedule, but I do want to point out that Suning had a brilliant early game in terms of the spring split. Statistically, they were actually better than Invictus Gaming, and they were the only team alongside with IG to have 3 consistently winning lanes. That's incredibly hard to maneuver. So I personally have pegged him with the highest potential out of all these young teams in the summer split.
So the thing is if you don't know Clement, the thing that gets Clement hot and heavy are always stats and numbers. And so when he's able to make a statement like the better early game than Invictus Gaming, when IG were just slaughtering through the LPL, is quite a big feat. So on 8-11, in this crazy meta that seems to end between 10 and 15 minutes, you say potential. But what does that mean for Suning? Does this, buff them up? Does this insulate them to be like the next great thing in the LPL?
So my idea of potential is you have the most room for grow. And that's true for Suning because they actually had the worst 20 to 30 minute stretch. They were kind of known as...
I see why they didn't make playoffs.
Yeah, they were known as a clown car. They definitely threw a lot. And usually teams think about kills, objectives, and reset. But for Suning, it was kill, kill, kill. So I think they have the easiest problems to fix, and they have a coach to do so. Coach Sim's been around since Season 4, definitely knows the lane swaps, which we've been seeing around very well. So I do have faith in them continue to grow. However, we do have one big question. Big question. Do you want to go for it?
Okay, so the caveat is they don't have their star player Knight in the mid lane. Now, Knight was kind of the foundation. We voted him, I believe, rookie of the split over in the LPL. He's kind of the next big page in the LPL superstar talent in that mid lane, and now it's back to Fen. But that said, there is a guy in the top lane that they can rely on.
Definitely, and we have to talk about their secondary carry in Xiao. I think this guy is the best Chinese-born bruiser player that we have in the LPL. He has 80% win rate on Camille and 100% win rate on Jax. Incredibly potent, and this is who Suning is looking for to carry them forward.
And look at that guy. He knows he's attractive. A little humble brag, a little arm behind the shoulder. Now, you said best Chinese bruiser-born player. Now, am I sensing kind of is he the next God going? Is he going to be the picking up the mantle of Go going? Is he that type of player? Like, when you say best in lane phase, what does that mean? Like, what are the pieces there that make Xiao such a competitor?
Well, I think, first of all, he doesn't actually require that much jungle attention, and he is a player that does go for solo kills quite often, going for those at level 6 and level 7, trying to punish.
And of course, joining him will be the rest of the lineup. It's Hacker, Fen, Fury, and Yoon. And again, we are focusing all of our attention right now on Xiao as the big carry, but you can never discount that bottom lane. Across them, though, Vici Gaming.
Audi, Swift, Fire Rain in the mid lane, Snow as their new AD carry, and of course, Caveman rounding out the composition. 3 new players that they did not have in the spring split.
And I was gonna say that I can't quite put my finger on it, but I think something's missing from that Vici Gaming lineup.
Easy E?
Yeah, Easy Hoon,
yeah, Easy.
world champion. Now, that said, we do have to toss it over to our casters, but first, a quick word from Shao, the man himself.
上个赛季我们中后期打得不是特别好，然后人员磨合也不是很久，然后这个赛季我们新赛季非常努力的训练，然后人员磨合也还可以，希望能打出自己想要的成绩。
Always nice to hear from the Chinese-born Bruiser player there talking about their preparation off-season. I know there has been a lot of preparation all across the board because we have seen quite an interesting meta evolve in the last couple of days, Rusty.
Yeah, we certainly have, but let's bring that back to Suning first because this is the first time we will see them play in this crazy meta, and I do like what they're saying in the off-season. They're practicing very hard. They were the 5th place team in their group, just edged out by Jingdong in the last match of the season that they were playing to lose their spot in the playoffs. And they're a team with a lot of potential, like the analyst desk mentioned. And that potential has now had some time to simmer. They've actually had some time to continue to practice together in the off-season and fix what was going wrong. And this should be one of those games where they come in, first game of the season, and they smash Vici. That should be the expectation.
I mean, the caveat to that is the fact that Suning in their very first split actually made it into playoffs in the first place. So a 5th place finish was actually a downgrade for them in their second split. So you're absolutely right. It would be nice to see them do a little bit better in this one. But they are going to face down Vici in this one. And Vici have actually not done too badly in their first game that we've seen so far in this split. As we get into Champion Select, we'll be Suning taking away that Camille. Seen her banned in every single game so far, and Zoe will be following that one for Suning. On the opposite side, it's going to be Lulu and Lucian joining them on the bench.
Yeah, the Lucian bans, and you mentioned Camille being 100%. So is Lucian in terms of pick ban in the first 3 picks here. So never actually seen ban phase 2 or pick phase 2 either of those champions. Very high priority, and not as high priority as other regions. Sorry, rather higher here compared to other regions such as the LCK. AD carry still very prevalent in our region.
True, we did start just a little bit earlier than the rest of the regions, though. That is worth noting. And Morgana will be the final ban there from Suning Gaming. On the opposite side, rather, it will be Rakan joining Lucian and Lulu for Vici, and Suning Gaming will instantly lock in the Talia. Now, we've actually seen many Talia bans, but when it actually comes to picks, usually it's open. People are like, nah, actually not going to pick the Talia. So I'm actually glad to see it come out here from Suning.
Yeah, this is the first Talia pick that we have had this split so far. 0 picks, 13 bans. So it is nice to see that on the picks as well. From Suning with the first rotation, very strong, can flex. There's a lot that you can do with the Talia. And just in terms of jungle, clear speed, pressure, skirmishing, very strong. And I'm not surprised that Vici go with something that can answer that. But what I will say from Vici is I'm very happy they've gone for the Alistar as their first rotation here for themselves. Lulu gone, Morgana gone, and Rakan taken off the board. They prioritize a super strong support that can go with any AD carry still if they choose.
Any AD carry, and also any bruiser will do very well down there in the bottom lane. While it seems like the LPL has been trending less towards the craziness we actually saw on day 1 in the LPL, especially out of Vici, there is still a good chance that we see it in this game as well. Suning Gaming looking towards that Vladimir, which has been locked in. And if this Aurelia also comes out here, there is a good chance that Talia actually goes into the jungle. Aurelia can, of course, go to the bottom lane, as can Vladimir, so it's Flex City in this new meta.
I know Papa Smithy has mentioned this, and I just want to echo the thoughts. I actually think that Aurelia's 3 best roles go in the order of mid lane, AD carry, support. So I actually think top lane is the 4th worst role for her right now, and you just don't see it in the jungle. So there is always a possibility. Don't discount it. Suning Gaming are the kind of team to go wacky and crazy down in that bottom lane. They could be flexing it there.
Oh yeah, Aurelia is definitely not good into those bruiser matchups for the most part, unless you're some type of Aurelia god, but mostly only really seen that in solo queue. However, a pick that has been emerging very much recently is that Aatrox pick, which will more than likely go into the top lane here for Vici, and it still remains to be seen what FireRain's pick is going to be in the mid lane.
And you can of course note that with the Aatrox locked in, the Jax gets banned away near immediately, so focusing towards that top lane as well, making sure that there's not something that gives a very bad time for Audi. Maybe wants the tank matchup up in that top lane, but he'd also be pretty content with the Aurelia, you would have to expect. So as it goes for the draft, Vici coming into the red side, ban phase and pick phase 2, with perhaps an advantage on what roles they want to get. And remember, they also get last pick for that bottom lane if it is going to be something crazy. Yasuo's still standing.
Lots of focus there towards the top lane, as you mentioned, that Jax coming out, but also the Renekton to follow through from Vici. On the opposite side, Kaiser will be the ban there towards Snow, and Swain will also join that one. And it's going to be a Kennen pick as well. We have seen this before in the LPL in the 3 days that we have played so far in our first week of the summer split, but we're going to get to see it again here from Vici.
And the Kennen was played in the AD carry position, so naturally the Kennen's still able to be a bruiser that does deal AD damage, physical damage. Nice mix, has really good crowd control, and just works incredibly well with any supports that you throw down there that have CC for themselves. And Alistar tends to be the champion that fits that build the best right now in patch 8.11.
Definitely the case for certain. Looking towards Suning, however, they will lock in that Ornn, and Ornn also found himself a very high appearance rate in the LPL. Seems like he's just snuck under the radar from many teams, but still managed to get in every single draft.
Ornn's one of those champions, man, where like you can ban it away if you want, but why would you ban it when there's something else that's more important? And the interesting thing here is, like, well, why ban Renekton and Jax when Ornn exists? Well, Xiaowao is actually just a god at both of those. He's a bruiser king, so naturally they get rid of his bruisers. If he's playing the Ornn, I'd still call that a win for Vici in perspective of what they actually get in the draft.
It will be exciting to see how Suning play. Of course, their moniker has really been play fast, play hard. And while the first time we saw Suning, they were a little bit slower, they turned into one of the fastest teams in the entire world in the next split that they played. So take a look at this composition. They have this Taric, they have the Ornn, they have a lot of picks that like to go forwards and get down and dirty with Vici.
And it looks like they've rounded out the composition here, Vici, of a Yasuo going towards the middle lane. They're not going to be flexing that one down into the support role. Kennen very rarely will find himself going mid. You have to rush the Proto Belt. You're weak until you have the Proto Belt finished. So expectations there is that as everyone stands will be where they sit. And that puts us down with a fairly wacky bottom lane from Suning. And unfortunately, these styles of compositions have been very unsuccessful so far in the LPL.
They absolutely have, Rusty, though I am very interested to get your take on how a Vladimir Taric will go into Kennen Alistar.
I mean, the first thing about it is that Taric into Kennen will just be super awkward. If he lightning rushes, you can't stun him, but he's not dealing damage, so it's more like a game of chicken in terms of dealing damage. I would still probably rather be the Kennen and the Alistar, just having a range champion down there. Kennen was traditionally one of those picks that can bully out of Vladimir, so not surprised to see that one going down into the bottom lane as an answer to what was assumedly going to be the Vlad. And overall, I actually am not... I'm actually happy, I should say, with
that's a rare occurrence, Rusty.
With Vici's drafting overall. And I mean, I don't know what to expect from Vici since the start of this split. They've surprised me time and again. Their style is not concrete, and this fluidity in style and the constant learning from them has been interesting to watch so far. And of course, it's only their second set, but the draft, not too bad.
I mean, let's be honest here. This Vici is a different team entirely, and I think we have to treat this new Vici as so. We can't really look at Vici as the team of 1,000 cuts or like the Easy Hoon era. It's clearly over. I will say right now I am on Struggle Street as there is a light flashing in our
face.
Alright, I'm going to turn around, Rusty, and that might actually be better for me. Alright, so we're about to get into this game, ladies and gentlemen. Luckily, the light is behind the players, and it's only blinding the casters, so they should be fine. It shouldn't hold up our game. As you can see, we're going to take a quick look at the banners as well.
Of course, we have got the rest of the comp here from Vici. We mentioned the bottom lane, maybe overall better drafting from them. The strobing is finished, so we can finally see the screens. The Yasuo mid lane, that's the place we're going to have to explore. Last time Vici played Fire Rain, when he played the Yasuo, Vici won. It was 5-1-7 and looked outstanding.
Very much the case, as we are just a few moments from the players spawning onto the Rift. And of course, I'm going to give it over to the crowd. Also, it took them a bit of time to rev up there. They was definitely trying to get on the same page. But I think that's probably my favorite sign that I've seen all split. Of course, it has only been 3 or 4 days so far in the LPL, but the LD sign definitely in the top 5.
Absolutely. Quite clever. Most people may not even know that that is the brand. But either way, Vici, finished team composition. We've mentioned bottom, we mentioned mid. Let's just round out their comp before we go over to the other team
Let's
first.
do it.
We'll come back to the jungle and the top lane duo. Now, Aatrox, currently 2-0 in the LPL, hasn't been beaten, but mostly IG playing it, so that goes without question. They tend to win all of their games. Aatrox is a very good split pusher. And into a tank, when you've got the Conqueror, when you've got the Guinzu's Rage Blade, which is the standard first item, you just split push. You just keep going and you never stop. And they have to bring people up to you. Duke was doing this with IG. If he draws the pressure of 3 people to a side lane, he goes to the lowest priority area on the map. Your team then takes the highest priority objective on the opposite side. because they kind of have to bring 3 people to you inevitably if you go even in the early game.
Well, sure, and I'm just taking a look at FLICKR because he did start off his jungle path in the enemy jungle of Vici. I don't know how much information that Vici have over this. Actually, they placed 2 walls down, so they would have seen FLICKR, leave his jungle. And it looks like Swift is actually just going to clear his walls and move towards top side, maybe go towards the Raptors as well, as a Nocturners want to do. Though it looks like he is pathing down to the bottom side, which, again, has been warded by Suning. So we'll see if there's a reaction here.
Yeah.
FLICKR does have control over mid lane, however.
So Swift, of course, playing reactionarily to Hacker's level 1 invade, 3 members going to the red side. So just vertical jungling, ideally.
Tragic. From
both of these teams. Yeah, you can't trust the Scuttle. He's going to juke you every single time. But you can see Hacker, priority goes towards the Scuttle Crab, and rightly so. Wants the gold, wants to get rid of that spawn and get it out of the way early. Also, just giving extra control through the river means you don't have to place as many wards over that area. But you know full well what you're sacrificing here, and Swift is taking the maximum. He can even get the Raptors.
Took a bunch from that. Also had Caveman roaming up as well towards the jungle. Also worth mentioning that as Caveman just jumps in the bottom lane, tries to put a bit of pressure down. That's a bit of a tongue twister, but Snow's going to do the same with him. That Caveman, I'll say, like, he's had some stellar performances on Arthur, stellar performances on the likes of Bard as well, but you put him on anything else and he's probably going to take a trip to Feed Central. And that's exactly what we saw out of Caveman the other day, but landed multiple 4-, 5-man knockups on the Alistar, so excited to see what he can bring to the table this game.
Yeah, the Alistar in particular was very clean from him. Surprisingly so, you might even say. His mastery of the flash pulverizers with the Yasuo running around in the team composition was that added extra. And when you look at the AoE that Vici have got as a team, if the Alistar goes forwards, not only the Yasuo there, oh, hang on.
That's the setup there from Xiao Ao. Aldi does have his passive up, so it means that Suning don't really want to go for the all-in dive right here. But to burn that passive would be nice. There is no Swift on the top side of the map. This is still safe. And Aldi knows he's going to have to try and escape from this one.
Yeah, the passive's completely gone. Talia's still going to hang around. Aldi's playing with fire.
He absolutely is, but it's going to be based on this flick, and he's got the setup from Xiao Ao as well. As easy as like, well set up from Suning.
Very clean from Xiao Ao, using the tower as his offensive tool, something that Aldi thought was a safe spot to be. Not at all, and Hacker can just hit the flick afterwards. Easy first blood for the side of Suning. Remember, they are the early aggressive team. They take it to you. And getting that first blood, getting it onto Hacker, that accelerates them even more.
Oh yeah, the proactiveness from around the 5-minute to 15-minute mark is really what you look towards as the hallmark for Suning Gaming. Also one of the most innovative teams that we also have in the LPL. So a team that in a meta like this, I think would adapt very well. And into a team like Vici, clearly it has resulted in the first blood for them.
They thrive in the chaos every single time Suning Gaming. And one thing worth noting whilst he's on your screen, Fen, he's a Kassadin player. Kassadin's gone from the meta, but the mobility's still there with Aurelia, and he's in trouble potentially.
Perhaps, though, it looks like he's going to get the kill. 1 versus 2 into Fire Rain. Finished off there by Swipper, had the minion wave advantage. And Vici just doubled down on a risky play. Aldi, he's actually going to jump in. It's the perfect time for Hacker to come in for the counter gank once again. Throws up the pebbles, looking for the flick back, but Xiao Ao taking actually negative damage right now. And Aldi, he'll go down once and most likely going to fall again.
We're going to have to try the second time. Does go down, so they get the kill onto Audi. There's no way out for an Aatrox. You know this too well as a top lane player, Pulse, but when an Aatrox goes in, he stays in, and either you 1v2 or you die inevitably. In this case, he'd already gone down. Chooses not to use the flash at all. Just sacrifices himself. He's now going to have to walk back to lane and feel real sorry for himself. But in that middle lane, Fen gets the kill, has the ignite, is able to lock him down. There's just so much mobility, you don't expect the damage. The amount of Q resets you get now is absurd.
I mean, really, it's off of the fact that you can clear out a minion wave very quickly in a trade situation as Aurelia, and actually that's also what you want to do. You'll see a lot of good Aurelia players nowadays actually jump to as many minions as possible in a trade, stack up the passive, and then actually be stronger when you Q onto your opponent for the first time. That's what Fen did there in the 1 versus 1, gets the kill onto Fire Rain.
Of course, getting those 4 stacks is the most important part that people don't notice about Aurelia when it comes to trade patterns. That is the thing that means you run away, much like when a Yasuo has the Tornado up opposed to just a regular Q. Except this one, not quite tornado levels of visibility.
For sure. It's just like, is she yellow? Run away. Here comes the engagement to the bottom lane, though. Swift coming in from behind you, and actually turned around upon Fury. Will step forward into Snow. Yes, he's going to take some down from the cannon right there, but still Suning completely backing away from the play.
Very good disengaged champion. Naturally is Yoon on that Taric, working with a Vladimir who is impossible to gank because of the puddle. You could see that Swift, he wants to come in, wants to make something happen, but really he couldn't. So he just went in to give some pressure, perhaps help the bottom lane clear the waves, and then recall, which is not a bad decision in the end. If they're able to get that free recall off, you can see they're farming incredibly well down their Snow. 20 CS ahead.
Now the priority that FenFen has in the mid lane is being converted now into the jungle. Yet again, we're seeing Hacker look for this invade onto the red buff. Got to get the smite down. We'll see if Swift is actually able to do the same on the bottom side once more. Try and take the red buff, try and take the Raptors. Because we still have this pushing bottom lane here, Rusty.
And the thing is, he's just ticked over to 6. Audi 6, Fire Rain 6. Snow and Caveman will be getting there. They're about halfway to that as well, so 2 to 3 more waves. He could recall, look towards that red buff because he's got plenty of time. But also, he has the ultimate, so he could choose to go somewhere else on the map, be very unexpected from the side of Suning. They may not know where he is, and he could make those plays happen.
I mean, Caveman about to ding 6 right here, so there's a possibility to look for the dive in the bottom lane. Of course, it is also risky if, you know, Vladimir and a Tarek also happen to hit level 6, but there is still the opportunity. And you can actually see he's looking towards this mid lane here, looking towards FenFen. It will be based off FenFen moving forwards, though. Fire Rain's not giving up the ghost. He's going to push in this wave. Double wards go down.
And you'll notice in terms of player tendencies, FenFen has actually been taking a lot of the tornadoes to clear waves. He's not afraid of it. He's actually taunting Fire Rain to come in. But with a Nocturne not being spotted, it's very safe from FenFen actually to not get hit by it. Just sit back, let it push towards him, and casually work towards... Oh no. Swift just saw it then. He knows that it's reset.
He doesn't know that Hacker smited.
Yeah, he doesn't know that Hacker smited, but Hacker's not here. So it's a free red buff. That's tragic.
That is disastrous. That was at maybe, I think it was like 48 HP. I'm not sure how low it went, but it was very low. Hacker going to be kicking himself over that one as the reset came in. Though he'll
level 6
actually
and
go
top
straight
lane.
towards the top lane. Yeah, this is very quick. So I don't know if Audi is necessarily aware of this. He's looking for the recall.
Audi is
he's outside of vision.
In the worst position possible. He's not in the bush. He doesn't have a ward, and the ward spots him. Hacker could just walk up and be invisible. That's where he was recalling. But he has the flash, he has the jump, he may still get out.
Here it is, bisecting lines, and Audi's going to face plant right into that Talia wall, has no passive. And Xiao will chime in with the assist as Hacker picks up the kill.
And again, doesn't flash to safety. This is the second gank where Audi's had it available, chooses not to use it, and just inevitably falls down. Makes you wonder what he's really looking for. Did he just not expect the knockup from Xiao onto the Talia wall? It's a great combo that they use very effectively. And credit to them, once again, they're picking on the Aatrox. They know that if he gets ahead, even if he stays even, then things look very dire for their execution in the mid and late stages of this game. And they've got a very big Talia now as a result of that focus.
I mean, if you look at mentality here from Audi, the first couple flashes of not going for them makes sense. It's like, well, I'm screwed anyway, I'm not going to burn the summoner. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Snow's just going to sidestep that one. And on the third one, I would say maybe Audi could have just burnt the flash right there. But he knows he's 0 through. We're looking towards this gank in the mid lane. Caveman arrives, and FenFen is going to respectfully burn his flash.
A very safe flash there from FenFen, and rightly so. There was a chance that Fire Rain was actually going to... He was trying to bait the flash earlier. He didn't use the whirling Q to actually get the knock up and follow with the Alistar. Wanted the flash out to follow up, and then the dive was on, but still very well executed in the mind games. Speaking of mind games, just off there in the bottom lane.
Yeah, very, very close. You could say it was reaction, you could say it was accident, say it was happenstance, but either way, Snow is out of there, and Hacker is going to spend the time just to push in this minion wave alongside his bottom lane. Fury's going to get himself a nice 75 gold off the back of that cannon minion as well. It should just be a wave push, and recall just letting this wave reset here towards Vici. But if we just take stock for a second, Suning are actually doing very well for themselves. 4 kills to 1. Vici do have Dragon over them, but around a 2,000 gold advantage at the 10-minute mark is nice to see.
As the state of this game is actually concerned, moving through the rest of it, a lot of the gold, a lot of the income and damage is actually on the jungle position here of Suning Gaming. So that means they could go anywhere on the map. If he wants to come back top lane, he absolutely can. If he wants to look towards invading with his team, he's got the Ornhorn as well for range. So they'll be able to get a really nice 2v2 skirmish off. The risk is constantly going to be the 3 people in the mid and bottom side of the map. If a Kennen, Yasuo, and Alistar all get to wombo together, then things look so right for Vici, and if they can execute on that appropriately. The risk there is that Swift tries to try and get over Pebbles to get to the Talia. They've got an Aatrox that's super behind, so lacking in damage. And they've only got one tank that isn't a tank. Not until level 11, not until the Alistar has 2 points in the ultimate.
Now, at this point in the game, we're 11 minutes in, and I'm looking towards Swift, who hasn't used his ult just yet. You see him pathing towards his mid lane, and you know, while he got a very good counter at the very start of the game, FLICKR has generally been the one who's been much more proactive. This may be the first thing we're actually going to see here. The knockup comes in right into the final breath, into the ultimate there from the Nocturne. He's going to get the kill. Caveman even chimes in, wants the assist. He roars as he doesn't unfortunately get one, but there's still going to be a nice usage of the ult.
Even the second journey from Caveman from bot to mid, they are trying super hard to get this Aurelia behind now 1 and 2, but more importantly, they start to get that Nocturne on the board. They start to get that Yasuo getting ahead, and that looks towards objectives potentially as an option. But they've already got the Dragon, so that's not a concern for them. The Herald has just recently come up that they could look towards. Right now, bottom in trouble.
Nice flash forwards. That's going to be the double stun coming down. Snow's going to activate the defensive ultimate flash over the wall, but he's tagged by Fury. Another flash from Caveman, plus the ult is running. Sidesteps the flick. There's still going to be 1 kill over to Suning once again.
Everyone too busy dodging the flick to actually get themselves out safely. So nice kills down in the bottom lane. Correct use of the Talia. Going between lanes is Swift.
Flash forward, Swift sees his prey in his sights, gets the slowdown. No matter on that guy, 500 gold in the bank.
Lethal tempo Nocturne, everybody. So much damage comes out once he gets that fear off. No flick to be there to save the Talia. The hacker goes down. Everything gets corrected once again. The ship is right at its course. Set for top lane.
Oh, 1 versus 1. Here comes the Ornhorn flying through. He's going to be battered by the town. Aldi has the passive up. He's going to be knocked down, but this is going to be a 1 versus 1. Where actually, Aldi chooses to back away.
The correct decision actually from Aldi there. He was at risk of dying. Maybe could have got an extra heal off, but it had the damage sorted out as well, so wasn't really looking for that survivability. Just chooses to recoil. May teleport back towards top lane regardless. We'll see how much he can actually purchase with that teleport, because it doesn't look like he's a rich man.
Yeah. Note this is the era of Aatrox maxing E versus maxing W in lane, so you better know if he was maxing W and had the heal ready to go, he was going to go in on that. But having maxed the E for the lane harass and the poke and the wave clear, not going to be the case on that one. Though, if I was a betting man, I would have gone for it.
Talia can barely get auto-attacked to clear entire camps. That just looks way too fun.
Yeah, I mean, just the fact that Talia is a jungler nowadays is just feels a little bit strange, but she does it very effectively. Aldi will just back away in the top side of the map as well. And plus the fact that Runic Echoes are strong right now as well is just a nice thing for Talia.
And note that whilst the trade was close top lane, it's still Aldi that loses in the end. The teleport's being shared between top laners when Aldi is 0-3. His tower's still being pushed in. Ornn's still keeping him there. There's no real utility that can come out from him whatsoever. And that means that the turret will inevitably drop. And that's a bad thing for Vici. Almost completely, that opens up the map for dives top lane. It opens up the map for lane swaps or from recalls, honestly, from the Ornn, who doesn't need teleport to show up in other lanes then. You can see him even now, leaving towards the river, placing some deeper vision to stop the Nocturne from getting ganks off, maybe even there to counter gank.
Going towards Suning though, it's around 15 minutes and they are all grouping simultaneously towards this bottom side of the map. Dragon is spawning in around a minute from now, so this is set up vision. Surely Vici will not push up too far in the bottom lane, considering everybody is off the map here from Suning. Swift knows it's happening, but again, preemptive ward ahead of time from Suning. Seems like they are multiple steps ahead of Vici every single play that they try to make. Hacker and Fen coming in from around the side. They found Swift. Instant flick comes out. Here comes the spell shield, but Fen finds the kill. 1 versus 2, but here comes Fury with the assist. Fire Rain walks in, walks out. 180 done by him. That's 3 kills to Suning. The follow through out from Hacker as well, and he face plants the wall.
Great win wall from Fire Aim, but just to disengage, it was so much better from Suning Gaming. They had the vision in place. They get the pick before a fight could even start. And even with nearly instant reactions from Caveman and Snow in an attempt to save their jungler, there's no saving him whatsoever. So Suning continue to push forwards. They continue to grow a lead. The early game LPL team, believe it or not, still very good in the early game.
Absolute shocker. I mean, Vici definitely showed their propensity to move towards more innovation in their drafts and in their playstyle, especially the fact that Fire Rain is in the mid lane, 2nd series in a row. No easy who to be seen. You know, this is the team changing their identity, but you're right, Suning Gaming, this is them changing their identity. This is them doubling down and refining an identity they already had, and you can see that in this game. It's very clear that they know what they're doing.
And we said if anyone's going to be able to innovate, bring out something different, it would be Suning Gaming as a roster. Of course, you get to see what happens here with the dive. Caveman, the headbutt was good, trying to separate Hacker from Fen. Maybe they get a pick, but they'd already lost a member. They'd already lost the damage. There was no chance of getting that whatsoever. So back it up, maybe look for the disengage. But then the Vladimir just walks through the turret, finds them all, and nails it.
I mean, this is a composition from Suning that does very well when ahead, right? Like, if this falls behind you, you're like, ah, well, we're probably on a struggle streak. We walk forwards with people that maybe one guy wants to be a tank and Yoon's not tanky enough, but the fact that everyone does so much damage at this point in the game, it just doesn't matter.
And let's even, you know, there's only 4,000 gold the difference, but Suning Gaming have invested 1,200 gold into stopwatches, which means they're looking to accelerate the game even further. You get that stopwatch, you're diving. They're absolutely going to look towards doing that. Vladimir with the turret reset already from having the Sanguine pool available. Their next step, top lane out of turret, mid lane out of turret, and Rift Herald are the 3 places you would be looking towards after they reset bottom wave, and you can see them already starting to group.
I will say so far, I've been impressed by FenFen's play on this Aurelia. You know, as we were saying before, he was essentially a Cassidy one trick. And when I say essentially, he was a Cassidy one trick. And it took the league way too long to acknowledge that he was a Cassidy one trick and got away with it way too often until he got to around just before playoffs and it's like, wait a minute, this guy literally only plays one champion, bans it out and it's like, alright, sub him out.
It was just such a weird thing to watch because you could look at it now and in 2020 hindsight be like, man, they should have banned that Cassidy. But every team that plays against a Cassidy is like, how does he win? Cassidy's not good early. We just win till 15, and miraculously, he still finds a way to win with the champion. So it was more 5 weeks of discovery of like, can we beat? No, we can't. We have to ban it.
I mean, it's a concerning stat when you're sat in week 8, and for some reason, FenFen's only played like 8 games but won 7 of them on Cassidy. It's like, why? Why is this? Why are we like this? Vici's going to find themselves a tower in the bottom side. Mid lane is about to fall as well. Here comes Shelly. She's about to charge angrily into the tower, and the team's there as well. 5 members strong plus the minion wave. Seems like Vici not all gathering around this tower. This is a little bit concerning. Now Aldi is moving in from the top lane, and only now Snow is coming out from base. This is going to be at least another tower here from Suning, though they are actually paying a lot of respect to Vici as they come in.
They get them to disengage in the end, but the damage is done on that turret. Just a stone's throw away. One more push where Vici aren't there in time, and it will drop down. So naturally, you watch the progression of this last 2 minutes. We said they should go top lane, they should get the Herald, they should get mid lane. It was all secured. No contest from the side of Vici. They can't really bring the Aatrox to fight regardless. He's too far behind. And they don't want Shawel to be there on the Ornn. But when the fight started to move towards that side of the map, well, they had no choice. And it seems like they just chose the safe option. We'll sacrifice an extra couple thousand gold. Now it's 5,000, not 4. That's not too bad of an outcome for Vici. The risk is what happens now. Will Suning be able to play effectively around a Baron up in 50 seconds? Or will they throw it all away and give Vici that one in that they need?
I mean, ultimately, this is a very much a fragile carry composition from Vici, right? If they get a couple kills, you saw early, Swift gets 2 under his belt. He starts dealing a lot of damage. He's got himself the Duskblade of Drakthar. He's also got himself the Warriors Enchant. He'll blast any squishy on the team. Unfortunately, everyone else in that team not doing so hot. And as a carry composition, if you're squishy and the enemy team has a tank, good luck in esports. You're going to have to try and find a good opportunity for yourself, otherwise you're just going to continue to lose.
And good luck in Zonia's Swift. Yep. You can't go for the Talia anymore. The Vladimir is just a pipe dream for him as well. Not a chance of killing that one. You have to go towards the Aurelia, perhaps. You could try and pick on the Taric before he gets the ultimate off, but neither of those are ideal. Aurelia is going towards armor, building tanky, and Swift, more of the lethality builder. It's not good for them coming forwards. Their team composition when behind starts to really suffer. The Cannon's AD, so they don't have pure 5v5 prowess. In fact, they want a 1-3-1 split push probably at this stage. But you try and split push against Suning's composition, they're just going to dive you.
I mean, to expand on that point, Rusty, it's like, really, who do you focus? Who do you hit? You're right, because Aurelia, if you want to fight Aurelia, you fight her between the phases of level 6 to level 13, because her second max ability is W. So at this point, she's just going to sit there and W and laugh at you. You can't look at the jungle now because too much gold in the bank, picked up the Zhonya's Hourglass. Bottom lane, Sanguine Pool. Bottom lane, also Taric with an ultimate, and top lane's a tank. So it's a catch-22 5 ways. What do you do against this comp?
It means you actually need Caveman or Snow to engage. There's such a heavy reliance on the rest of your team engaging, and that doesn't sound like a Vici thing. I can't picture Caveman engaging successfully with the team composition still getting a victory, but what you need is for Caveman to go forwards, force a stopwatch or an Hourglass or a pool, and then go in yourself as follow-up damage. And that is a lot of reliance on his team when you're meant to be one of the star players in Swift.
Now, when in doubt as a top laner, everyone keep note. As a split pusher, carry on split pushing until the end of your days. And that's what Aldi's doing, I respect it. Keep pushing into the bottom lane, at least draw someone to you, at least draw the enemy TP towards you, because, as you said, if you join a team fight, if you join a skirmish, you're probably not going to be offering a whole lot, but you can be
you know, a glorified minion in the bottom lane.
And you can see it now. Yasuo's top lane, Aatrox running back down towards that bottom lane, but that leaves an Alistar, a Kennen, and a Nocturne as the 3 people that
Sounds
have
like
to
the
try
start of a bad joke.
Yeah, they walk into a bar, no one wins. It's a risky position, in other words. And if I was Hacker, you get that flank, you just Talia wall them together and say, let's dance.
I think we're about to be dancing shortly though here, Rusty. I see 3 people from Vici in the top lane sitting in a brush, looking towards Fen. There's, oh, Caveman's cooked it. Here comes Swift as well underneath this tower, follow through as well. He's got the damage though. Where's the dummy from Fen? Why is that beer last for 17 seconds? Hacker's looking at this bush now with Fury. The rest of the team's closing in. They're behind the tower. Kennen's coming in from the river as well. And Vici caught between a rock and a stunning place. Oh, flash over the wall. Fire Rain. No, he's going to take the pebbles to the back of the head. Swift and Caveman on the run. Snow sees him over the wall and sends him a final farewell. You didn't really want too much part of this, and Caveman says, guys, I'm sorry for the flash headbutt. I'm going to cause Sudoku and kill myself.
Snow just gets out of there as fast as he can. Caveman has to be a necessary sacrifice. They'll get the kill, you take that, but there was still an outer turret standing, so teleports just come next to the battle, and they're locked in place between structures. They lose the team fight. You can see the desperation from Vici to force that fight at all, and kudos to them for forcing it, doing the correct thing. I think sitting around for another 5 minutes was just guaranteed defeat. Now they go over to the Baron Suning, and Vici, the jungler's alive with Flash. They have vision temporarily. This could be it.
Here's the TP out from Aatrox. Swift over the wall. He doesn't have Paranoia, but does have Flash. He's got the Blast Cone as well. There is a chance. He does see this one resetting. However, Aldi taking some punishment out from Hacker, and Suning very rightly back away from the objective.
Unfortunately, Aatrox, Audi in this case, didn't need to use that explosive plan. That was a really good entryway for Swift to get into the Baron in forthcoming fights. That was a place they were going to focus, but we get to see what happens in this top lane. The flash headbutt, whoops-a-daisies. Not quite ideal. You got to press Q in between there if you want to pound them into the ground. But Swift has got it unlocked. He's got a lot of damage. Again, lethal tempo Nocturne is nasty.
Oh yeah.
But from this point, Fire Rain actually does a pretty good job of trying to disengage and escape. But that last little pebble from Hacker is what it takes to get the kill. So you can see it here, pretty smooth. But hits the Q. That was the kill.
And it was just a chase down from there, yeah. Alistar just offering himself up as the sacrifice. Fire Rain will eventually knock down the top tower. Suning Gaming, really at this point in the game, what is one tower to a team who is around 5,000 gold ahead, 10 kills to 4, and has a Mountain Dragon, and still pressuring around the Baron.
Still waiting for that Baron though.
True.
The gold hasn't actually stretched anywhere from 5,000. We have found ourselves stagnating just that little bit here in terms of control of the map, but this is that moment where Suning can power play. They've got no teleport on Audi, Vici. Their top laner, who's going to be split pushing, can't actually come to the fight and help. But when you look at Vici's vision control, Suning are not prepared to do an objective right now. Look at the Baron area with the control ward focus. My god, there are wards everywhere. That's nuts, actually.
Oh yeah, I can hear Illidan laughing in the background. Like, I don't know what Suning Gaming are looking towards. Well, they're looking towards the Dragon right now. And Vici, you're right, this is a point in the game where, you know, we're under no illusions. It's Baron or bust. You know, you get the next Baron from Suning, you're probably finished. If you get it from Vici, then, hey, you hold on for another 10 minutes, and then suddenly we have an actual game on our hands. But it's going to all be around this objective. And for now, Suning are going to find themselves the easy objective in the form of the Mountain Dragon, which will make it easier for them to go for the Baron.
And of course, not to misconstrue what's happening, Suning's still well and truly in control. And the things that we're looking for Vici is, obviously, if you could steal the Baron, that'd be splendid. But you need one more item for Audi, one more item for Fire Rain. The Guinzu's Rage Blade is what you're looking at for Audi. Once he's got that, split pushing becomes more of a breeze. All of the heals or all of the W procs either way, all of the time. And for Fire Rain, that Infinity Edge, once he gets the crit chance up to 100%, serious teamfight threat because he does legitimate damage consistently.
I mean, Vici are trying to set up on Aurelia once again in the top lane, but haven't really committed to anything, and as a result, you're seeing Suning shove down the mid lane and actually look for an engage onto the two members who are trying to ambush their Aurelia. So here comes Hacker. He's going to line up the wall. The rest of the team, however, not quite in position in time, and Talia's wall doesn't last quite as long nowadays. So Vici will get away with it, though this tower is now being sieged in, and it's just this push and pull, and mostly push from Suning.
And most importantly, look at the wards that have now been replaced by Suning. They've cleared everything out from Vici. They now control the red side quadrant of the jungle. Vici, no entryway to the Baron safely, especially with the mid lane outer turret gone. So this is exactly what Suning should be doing. You play it slow, you now control mid-wave, you get priority on the middle lane, and then you run over and get picks, or in this case...
Or you just find yourself an Alistair, who he definitely altered in there, by the way, but you wouldn't have known because FenFen just blew him up, and it will actually be Shout Out coming in with the kill credit there.
There goes the one tank of the team, almost like he wasn't a tank at all.
Nope.
And they push forwards, not even going to the Baron anymore. They look to Siege instead.
Caveman never asked for this, unfortunately, and it's 4 versus 5 Siege. Best of luck to Vici. Many sane teams would just back away from the inhibitor, and many Vicis would actually just get caught in the push. Here comes Suning Gaming, battering down Fire Rain, tries to escape with the last breath, but indeed it will just be his own. And Suning will look towards this mid lane now, knock down this tower. Don't need a minion wave when you've got yourselves a Xiao Ao. And Vici will just lose themselves an inhibitor.
Yeah, look at the inhibitor. They could even disengage and walk straight towards the Baron if they would like. Now they've still got control of the area, and Yasuo being gone is a major threat gone when it comes to team fighting. So very well done from the Suning Gaming roster. And I can say this definitively, Pulse. If there's one thing I've learned from the Vici side, it's that Fire Rain is very good at getting himself out of sticky situations that he shouldn't be in.
True.
But like, why is he there is obviously the first question, but the way that he can get himself out of those is super impressive.
I mean, you just have to reverse cut the tape, right? You don't show the lead up to the play, you just show him in the play. And you're like, damn, that was pretty good. I mean,
he's a magician, man.
He's the true Houdini of the 2018 era. Fire Rain. Unfortunately, he's 2-3-1 and irrelevant as Yasuo. However, there is a good chance for him to do well in future games, just not this one.
No, not at all. And still the safe approach here from Suning Gaming. Fast in the early game, always known as the early game team. Their mid to late stages of the game haven't been that clean. There's a reason that they finished 5th in spring. Jingdong able to close them out with better team fighting in late game. Something that you want to see from Vici, but the composition doesn't really speak towards me as a protect the Cogmore late game scaling composition, though they will have late game damage. It will be there, but they have to perfect the execution with a gold deficit.
It's so satisfying just watching Aurelia dash over backline minions. But no, for Suning Gaming, I mean, they are the fast and furious team. That was a pun on the AD carry's name. But when you get to the late game, they just kind of run out of fuel. Though Caveman, if he just instants to the top lane, that's also going to be welcome for them. And they'll just find themselves an Alistair and probably find themselves a Baron as well.
Fair enough. You may be wondering, what is Caveman doing there?
I don't think even Caveman knows, to be honest, Rusty.
Why am I here? I don't know. Vici are also on the bottom side looking towards pushing. Suning are now like, well, let's just push top lane, get ourselves an extra turret. The inhib's already gone, so threaten the second one. Force Vici to recall. I still don't really know why he was on that solo mission.
Caveman's just like, I'm going to do me a cat and just run at their opponents and just make them assume there's a team behind me, even though they're in full vision in bot lane. But yeah, unfortunate. And this is on Alistair as well. You know, we said this at the start of the game. Caveman has 2 modes, feed or be the hero. This one is unfortunately the former. And in the top lane, Suning are pushing towards this top lane tower. Snow going to get the stun down onto FenFen, but this tower's not long for this world, nor is this inhibitor. Vici sitting behind this one, 1 versus 3. Oh my god, the Equilibrium Strike was sick coming out of FenFen. He's dead now though, but that was a nice lineup. Here comes the Nocturne ultimate, jumps in, Swift is out. He actually goes into a stopwatch and Fire Rain, 1 versus 3. Caveman's back from the dead, and the TP finally coming in as well, cancelled. Actually, hang on, what are you doing, Snow? I'm not going to comment on that until this chase is done. Fire Rain chasing after FLICKR, lining up the stun right there, and Caveman actually reconsidering his choices there, backing away.
Alright, that's the moment you call it quits, but Fury somehow kills Caveman again. There must be greener pastures over on the Suning side of the fence because he is feeding relentlessly. Just dies one more time, so Vici just going to recall after what was a great little comeback there in that fight. It's really breaking my heart to watch Caveman right now. He doesn't intend this to happen, it's just happening.
All right, Aldi, this is ambitious considering Shower hasn't taken any damage yet. Best of luck to you.
Yeah, it's a Thorn Mail.
I feel like I've seen us win a Game of Thrones before.
It's hurting, not helping. Oh, he still wants it.
Here comes the champ. Knocks against the wall, and he's dead. Unfortunate. Yun just chimes in there for the assist as well. I respect it, but should have left it mano a mano, the 1 versus 1.
They are erupting the map into chaos to try and prevent Suning from staying clear-minded. They haven't gone towards the Baron yet. Still a bit scary for them as a prospect when Vici just keep throwing themselves at you elsewhere on the map. There was still a promising little fight on the top side. We do have to give some credit once again to Vici's team fighting, particularly Fire Rain, because he windwalled FenFen's Aurelia ultimate. That was the saving grace of Snow, gave them the kills. But then, of course, where there is good, there was followed up promptly by the not so good, unfortunately, from them.
As indeed, Caveman's going to get himself a ward, and Suning Gaming are going to get themselves a Baron. We'll see this one go down, and there is no escape. Snow, I saw it. Snow teleported maybe 5 Teemos in front of him from base to a ward in his base. So I'm not going to let you get away with that. It was off camera, but know that I know. And now people are going to rewind the VOD and see it as well. So there you go, Snow.
Oh no. You don't have to bring attention to it, you know?
He completed the teleport, Rusty, that's what I'm saying. A fight was going on, he was like, I'm going to teleport from A to B.
Was he getting home guard? Like, was he teleporting from the fountain?
I don't know. He's
Maybe
also
that's
AD. We're going to have to rewind the CCTV footage. Oh, Aldi! I don't know if you've seen the Magic Roundabout, but that was some Brian stuff right there that I just saw.
This inhib is very likely to go down also from Suning just pushing forwards. Too much pressure. Baron also, now that it has been secured, lets them push relentlessly. And with that Taric ultimate, they wouldn't be too afraid of diving, and they are a team that loves themselves a dive.
Oh, Fire Rain going to be caught off of that one right into the flawless duet. And Fire Rain, oh! You're absolutely right, Rusty. He does find himself out of those sticky situations. Audi and Caveman in a 2 versus 2 in the midst of this fight. Snow in a 1v versus 1 against Hacker, but it's going to be a timeout. No one's having fun with Snow right now. They turn this one around, and Yoon, he's kind of dancing back and forth. Doesn't know what he wants to do. Aatrox is down. Oh, the flash forward from Yoon is beautiful. They're going to finish off the cannon. And Swift, he's going to find himself a Swift death as well. A 5-for-1. And Suning Gaming look for the win.
Suning Gaming will get themselves the victory. 32 minutes on the clock. It feels a bit longer than it was, but still relatively clean from them.
Nexus goes down. Suning take game 1, and honestly, it feels like they were just having a little bit of fun with their food towards the end of the game. And Vici have a lot to learn.
I really did like the idea here from Suning Gaming, though. They could go towards the Baron if they wanted to, but why take an unnecessary risk in securing the objective when you can slowly and incrementally increase that lead to an unsurmountable amount for their opponents of Vici to come back from? Time and again, if they just control the vision, and they did control the vision, make Vici come to them, get the pick, follow that up with the objective. They played it out very nicely.
Fully agree with you. And also, Vici were happy to comply as well, constantly throwing themselves into Suning. And you've got to respect it to a certain point when you have composition like this. Keep trying to find those plays, keep trying to find an into Suning's defense. If you do, hey, the game's going to turn around, you find yourselves a Baron, and suddenly you are back on the board. Unfortunately, in a game like this, it actually went the other way. It continued to snowball out of control. But 33 minutes, reset, get into the second game. This is best of 3 after all. We are the LPL. So Vici, there is still a chance for them to come back into this series.
Absolutely, and credit to Suning first and foremost for getting the victory with the non-conventional bottom lane, something that we don't often see in the LPL. They're able to secure that one for themselves, so very well done. Fen in the mid lane, the one place that was trying to be focused, still gets the trade kills, and Hacker with the early ganks. And honestly, it was good from Suning Gaming as a team and as individuals to get that victory. For Vici on the other side, I think it's a mental reset above everything else now, because they were having a rough experience.
And for anyone else, it would definitely be for Caveman, because it was a great game for Caveman. It was also on his signature champion of the Astra as well. You either have Alistar or you have Bard, and unfortunately it was one of those. So
I think we're going to Bard next.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what it's going to have to be. Either way, we're going to send it over to the analyst desk to take a look at that game.
Best region in the world, everyone. I think that was some top tier. You know, it's been a while since I've seen a Clown Fiesta of that type of game, because I feel like Vici, maybe a little bit of stage jitters there or something like that. I mean, this is a brand new roster, not a ton of experience on the stage, and it just feels like mechanical mistake over mechanical mistake.
I just want to say that they are the bottom team of the LPL. They have been since the last split, so this is not representative for all our teams. But again, go into the ban picks and talk about it is the idea that counts for these team compositions.
That's what my mother tells me every Christmas. She's like, it's the thought that counts, right? It was the thought that counted in Champions. Like, so what? Okay, what's the meta? What do these comps want to do? And tell me why it went out like this. Because we haven't seen, we've seen primarily 80 carries. Look, Clement, we don't have any 80 carries in this game.
Yeah, so back to the meta, it's all about the 5v5, but there's 2 ways you want to play the 5v5. Over there in LCK, we do see it's about getting the first kill on the team. So you have strong initiation, you have burst damage, and this is like what Vici was... Yeah, Nocturne, especially. That's the most played jungler they have there in the LCK, and this is what we see Vici going for. On the flip side, what we see from Suning is still a 5v5 comp, but they're about counter initiation. They're about AoE, and they're about CC. So when the enemy teams comes into them as a 5v5, there's actually very little chance that they will get a win unless they pick a member.
And I am going to bust you real quick, because as you were watching this champion select come out, you were just like, Vici are going to win. I made the wrong prediction on predicting Suning. Why did I back them? And over the course of the lane phase, you started to change your tune. But why were you so against Suning's composition? Because you just said, you know, you've got the 5v5. It's a meat grinder meta. You try to engage into a Vladimir Tarek combo. Like, what are you ever going to do?
Yeah, so the reason I actually liked Vici's composition, I felt like they had an easier composition to snowball out of the early game. If you look at Suning, if everything kind of like stayed still, then the Nocturne could have snowballed a couple kills, and that could have been a threat. And of course, Aatrox, if he held his lane on his own, he would have been a split port threat as well, and they could have split Suning's composition and picked it off one by one. Of course, that didn't happen because of the laning phase.
Yeah, so that's the game plan. Now, we do have a bit of a package here, and again, Audi, we are so sorry that you had to be the sacrificial lamb here, but you were the sacrificial lamb 3 times. And Clement, you know, how much of this, when your top laner is 0-3, is the team's fault for not backing him up versus Audi's fault?
Okay, so the first 2 kills, definitely Audi's fault. The first 2 kill you saw there, he saw Taliyah there. He had a teleport. He knew his jungler wasn't there. He stayed underneath the tower without any stacks and died. That's inexcusable. Second is about the wave cleared. And by now, it is the 3rd time he gets killed in the top lane. This shuts down any chance that Vici has for splitting up Suning's composition. But I will say, after the first 2 kills, you could kind of see it in Swift. He wasn't going to top lane anymore. He was like, I'm kind of giving this up, and I do put a little bit of blame on Swift for that, because you do need to play towards your win conditions in the end.
I think my favorite moment of Swift was when they were taking the, or Suning were on the Baron. Caveman was behind Baron Pit, placing the ward, and you're like, Swift's, the Nocturne's gonna fly in, he's gonna get the steal, and then you check the map, and Swift is literally doing blue buff, and his mid laner doesn't even look at it. He's like, I know,
Yasuo doesn't need blue. Yasuo doesn't need blue.
If he was
that's
in
a fair play.
Nivea, he wasn't getting that blue buff. Like, let's just be clear.
That's true.
But that's it. We did get to see an opportunity when Swift did make plays on the Nocturne. It happened up into the top lane. Caveman unfortunately had a bit of a blunder there, but you were talking about, you know, what Vici's composition wants to do, and here it is.
This is what they wanted to do, was catch someone out and snowball the 5v4. Unfortunately, on the execution, as you all saw there, Caveman actually missed the WQ combo, and we were just kind of laughing at this point because it was a really dire situation, and it's just awkward.
They're trapped.
It's just awkward.
And the thing is if they had gotten that combo off correctly, you know, that's the difference between CC locking and killing someone before you're behind the tower, and then possibly you snowball that into a Baron control, maybe that pick snowballs into something else. Like, Vici did have windows where they could have gotten back into that game.
Definitely. If they were ahead, that composition has actually worked wonders, and we've seen it in the LCK so many times. It's not an out-of-the-meta pick. It's completely normal. They just need to survive the laning phase in an okay fashion.
Okay, well, that said, Vici do need to survive the laning phase, but they will have another opportunity to do that. It is a best of 3. We're going to go to a quick break, and then we're going to come back for game number 2, Suning versus Vici.